Oh, look out now. It's the Bourbon and Banter podcast, the biggest and most honest podcast in all of bourbon. That's right, friends and neighbors. We're here to bring you everything you need to drink curious. So sit back, grab a pour, and check your feelings at the door, because we're here to lay it out for you as only Bourbon and Banter can. Now, fall is here, and no, we're not going to give you any bourbon recommendations to pair with your pumpkin spice whatever. Just drink the damn whiskey and ignore the onslaught of ridiculousness coming out of everybody's marketing department as they try to slip spices associated with a squash into everything you see. We're sobering up after Bourbon Heritage Month and readying ourselves for lower temperatures and higher proofs. Here we go.
Well, hello again, everybody. How the hell are you now that we've finished the most badass month of the year? That's right, folks. We have survived. Well, mostly survived. I'm looking at Bob here. The 30 Days of Bourbon Challenge and Bourbon Heritage Month. How do you feel, Bob?
I'm tired. I'm tired, man.
Come on, you are a trained professional, my friend.
I am a trained professional, but I'm tired, man. 30 days. It's been, it's always an enjoyable time, man. But, as we get older, yes, it takes a little bit more out of us each year, but we discover things and grab things that we hadn't, tasted in a while, and it's always a joy. Did you grab anything this month that you say, wow, that you changed your mind on from the last time you tasted it?
I'm not allowed to talk about the things I grabbed this month.
Oh, gee, you got to go there. Already, what are we, a minute and a half in? You're already going there, man. Come on.
All right, I'll give you a pumpkin joke instead. What did the pumpkin say to the pumpkin carver?
I have no idea.
Cut it out.
Jesus. Man, why you got to share those kind of jokes? We can't be telling that's corny-ass jokes on the air. We're starting. If you're going to tell a joke, make it a decent joke at least. Like, what did the bathtub say to the toilet?
I have no idea.
I get as much ass as you do, and I can take all that shit. Now, see, that's a good joke.
There you go. Well, Bob, I am sorry that you're feeling old and tired. Because for many of us, it was apparently one hell of a Bourbon Heritage Month. I sat down earlier today to compile the stats, right? Every year we do a little recap of the action, and I just have to say people were fantastic this month, monitoring all the social feeds, all the posts tagged with 30 Days of Bourbon, Bourbon Heritage Month, Bourbon Banter. People really did it up big this year. Kind of give you an idea, we had 1.2 million plus giveaway entries. We had over 13 million impressions with a reach of about 5.3 million online. And just the stuff that people are posting and their commitment and their passion was off the charts this year. So, I mean, it just makes me excited to know we've been doing this for a decade, and the enthusiasm, the commitment grows. And, we have already started reaching out to several of the winners. We've got a few more we're communicating to as well. And once we get all the winners confirmed for all these wonderful prizes we're giving away, we will post that to the website so everybody can see some proof that we actually gave this stuff away. But don't be upset if you didn't win, because there's always next year, and there may be a few surprises between now and then that we're working on as well. Because if there's one thing that we know, in addition to loving to drink bourbon, people love partaking in the community and getting some swag. So we're gonna give the people what they want this year. So stay tuned for some more of that. But I just want to give a big shout out to everybody and thank them for their participation, their enthusiasm, and their commitment to helping us spread the bourbon gospel. Well done, everybody.
And y'all had a good time. We know you did, as did we. So thank you very much for being with us and sharing in that fantabulousness of America's native spirit.
And you know how you top off 30 Days of Bourbon?
I usually top off on October 1st with a pour of Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Tennessee whiskey.
Well, I'm going to go to Vegas. So by the time people are listening to this, I'm going to be in Vegas for a tasting gig. So I won't be able to tell you about it when I get back, but I figured, why not just tack on a couple more exciting days to 30 days of liver damage.
Now, we not only recommend bourbons, ladies and gentlemen, and donuts and things like that, but if you're in Vegas, you go see George Wallace. Best show in Las Vegas, legendary comedian George Wallace.
People in Los Angeles driving around in a smart car, drinking smart water, talking on the smartphone, and sitting in traffic looking like a dumbass. It's crazy. Listen, If you can't laugh in Los Angeles, just driving down the street, just stupid shit they got here. They got a place called a 24-hour fitness center with a sign underneath it, open 6 a.m. to midnight. Why y'all do stupid shit like that? There's something wrong with you people that live here. I went to the grocery store, had a plain of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, a loaf of bread, 3 bananas, 6 Coca-Colas of Wall Street joint, a moon pie, and 3 bags of pork rinds. And the cashier said, "You want a bag?" Y'all want a bag? What the hell is going on out here? You see people in the grocery store walking out dropping shit on the ground, eggs, and there's something wrong with you people in California.
Are you getting kickbacks from Vegas?
No. But the cat is funnier than hell. He's a legend. He just exudes just the essence of humor, and just, he's a beautiful cat. He's been out there, got the best 10 p.m. show, #1 10 p.m. show in Las Vegas.
All right,
you know why? Because there are no other 10 p.m. shows in Las Vegas, so he can sell it that way. See, he's smart too. He's a marketing guy.
He's a strategic thinker. I see what you're doing there. All right. Well, no, actually, so I am going to Vegas, going to do a tasting for a client, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But the other thing we're going to do to keep the party rolling, we've mentioned this before, but we have a couple single barrel picks coming up. Four Roses is going to be done on October the 19th. And then the very next day, we're heading over to Green River Distilling in Owensboro, Kentucky for a Bourbon and Banter single barrel pick on Friday the 20th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And those, we don't know the exact timing of when those bottles will become available, but hopefully within 3 to 4 months on the far side of things. So for those of you listening, if you'd like to have first crack at getting your hands on some of these amazing picks, make sure you signed up for the community. And obviously, paid does have a few privileges. So based on the tier you join, you may have first or second choice at those barrels. So if that's something you want to do, please check it out and go to bourbonbanter.com and check out the community tab and find out all about it. And if you're right, sign up and you'll get your hands on what are sure to be some very, very collectible and desirable barrel picks this year. Now, speaking of the community, Bob, we always talk about some of the stuff that's happened, whether it's in the Facebook group or our Slack channel. And there was something that you said you wanted to bring up from the Slack channel.
Well, so one of the things that the conversations happened is you actually had lunch with a liquor store owner, and they had shared with you that tons of brands are sitting there and getting dusty, and the store, they're drastically having to cut what they're carrying. Things like Kentucky Owl, Blue Run, High West, those are just some of the brands that are literally wasting space there. $100 bottles are getting harder and harder to push. And his comments echo comments that they've heard, as well about below expected earnings by some liquor companies. So
yeah,
we were curious, if our members were seeing the same thing where they were at, and people are like, yeah, this is pretty much starting to happen everywhere. All these Uber price bottles and stuff, $100 and up that have been on the shelf and they're sitting there and they're not going anywhere. One of our community members is like, they used to have a couple aisles of this stuff. It's now down to half an aisle or something, and then maybe an end cap or here and there. It's just stuff is not moving because it's not that great and it's priced way too high, and we told you so.
Well, I mean, you're spot on. And, really the reality is that brands have conditioned people to think that it's normal to spend $100 plus for a bottle of bourbon. But even though consumers have been fooled they've been conditioned to be okay with that, once they buy that bottle, if that bottle does not deliver, they don't buy another one. And that's, I think, what we're starting to see is we're starting to see the fallout of too many, $100 plus bottles that don't deliver in terms of taste and value compared to other things in the market. Too much overhype. I've also been told a lot of brands that are coming in that, are just either sourced blends or sourced single barrels who get a little bit of a cult following, then they're demanding these significant commitments in terms of purchase, right? Saying you need to buy $100,000 worth of a product to be able to get it. And it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, we've got lots of reports from other retail store owners that we know things aren't moving as fast. Even some single barrels are starting to languish as well. So I think we're starting to see that downtick. Now, will that change as we go into Q4, which is holiday season, where we see a lot of spending go up in the liquor space, especially for gift giving? We'll wait and see. So we are going to monitor this closely. But as always, we have a lot of people who are in our community listener who are retail store owners. We got a lot of people who own booze stores.
They own joints. Yeah, they got places.
Please drop us a line, podcast@bourbonbanter.com, and let us know what you're seeing. We'd like to kind of connect the dots here and see if this is isolated to a specific market or if it's more widespread. So definitely chime in and let us know. Now, lots of stuff going on. So we're going to just move right in here, Bob, and we're going to go ahead and dive into some whiskey headlines. What do you say?
I think there's a ton of stuff that has happened, and it's blowing our hair back.
And that is saying something for the two big, badass, beautiful men that are on this podcast. Just look at us. No, really, look. All right, so I'm gonna come out big. I want to do a real quick Blue Run acquisition follow-up. I'm not gonna bang the drum about the acquisition and everything of that nature, other than say that they've been acquired. Molson Coors now is driving the car, so to speak, at the parent level. And what do? It's like they were just trying to piss us off, Bob. They released Trifecta. It's the company's first ever 3-age Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Okay, now this, mind you, okay, is a blend of some bourbons here, and they're not all older bourbons, right? I think the oldest one, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head because now I've totally lost that. I think is like 9 years old.
9 years old.
Like 6, 7, and 9 years old, 6, 8, or 9 years old, something
about
like that.
Almost half of it is 6-year-old.
Right,
bourbon.
right. So, all right. So once again, this would be, none of this whiskey is as old as Russell's Reserve 10. That's a good comparison, right? They've released
and
this.
how much? Which is $28.88 a bottle at Sam's.
Okay. So Trifecta's come into the market for $180 a bottle. That's right, folks. Don't adjust that dial. $180 a bottle for a blend of 3 whiskeys under 10 years of age. All right, so that's some bullshit, and we talked about putting this in the bullshit section again, but instead, and I'm not gonna stand on the soapbox anymore. But we decided it was time to take a more pronounced stand, a more visual stand. So we took an idea that we had. And we have created a new T-shirt that many of you might have seen already, available in our online store, called Make Bourbon Cheap Again. Now, we're not saying make a cheap, shitty product. We're saying let's bring the cost back down to reasonable. We're not against spending quality money on quality bourbon. All right, but $180 for a blend of whiskeys that are under 10 years old, it's not worth it. And just for the people out there who say, well, Pops, have you tasted it? Yes. I've tasted it. It's a fine bourbon. But my friends, it is not $180 bourbon. It is maybe a $40 to $50 bourbon. And for those of you who are going to argue to say, well, it costs more because they sourced it. Well, that doesn't mean they should have. Let's just leave it at that. But if you want to stand with us and let the world know that you're tired of overhyped and overpriced whiskey, we invite you to go to www.makebourboncheapagain.com. That'll direct you directly to the shirts that we're selling, and we are taking both the men and the ladies in mind. We've got 2 different versions of the shirt, and buy one of those shirts because you will be voting to stand with us, and we encourage you to wear that shirt when you go to your retailer, on your next distillery visit, and more importantly, your next whiskey festival. And if you actually are at a whiskey festival and you stand and run in front of one of these brands that sells this overhyped bourbon, take a selfie and tag us on Bourbon and Banter. We might just have a little surprise for you. So help us make bourbon cheap again, and we appreciate your support.
I'm now envisioning both of us sitting on a front porch in 2 rockers saying, we thank you for your support.
Bennett and Garrett.
There you go.
Well,
there you go.
You put 2 of us in those shirts, it looks like a billboard.
What do you mean 2 of us? One of us in those shirts is a billboard. 2 of us in those shirts is like blocking a highway that's 6 lanes each way. You know,
Let me write this down.
Let
me write this down.
Yeah, they ran out of they run out of pylons out here in St. Louis, and they need to block off an exit ramp. They just hired the two of us.
Hey, well, there's a new
It even
business idea.
pays decent money too.
Hey, Bob,
I got a little bruise over here. But
some people rent those trucks that haul those billboards on the back of them around stadiums. You know, when the people are outside milling about. You and I could just jump in the back of a pickup with a shirt on it. Does the same thing.
We do that. I've got a lazy boy. My neighbor, he's got a Ford F-350. Got a lazy boy in the back, and we just walk whatever he feels like telling people that day. Just drives me around Busch Stadium, you know.
There we go. I like it. All right. Well, speaking of big guys, apparently another celebrity has decided to dip their toe into the whiskey world.
Because that's what we fucking need. More celebrity whiskey.
That's right. Actor and producer, I'm just going to say actor because I don't know what he produces. Actor Dave Bautista has joined Texas-based Devil Rivers Whiskey's ownership group. That's right. Everybody knows Devil's River,
well, then
right?
in that case, he's producing some shitty whiskey. That's what he's producing.
Well, he is known as Drax the Destroyer.
You may know him as Drax the Destroyer. I know him as Batista, the former World Wrestling, were they Federation back then when he was there? World Wrestling Entertainment, or whatever it is now, TKO, now that they've been bought out by Endeavor and merged with the Ultimate Fighting Championship until Vince McMahon gets put in jail for whatever. Anyway, Batista, I know him as the wrestler whose last match was panned for being horrible because he hadn't wrestled in 5 years and he lost to Triple H and he left out WrestleMania and no one's seen him again on wrestling. So just what we need. We need this guy to sell us some shitty-ass Texas whiskey.
Well, you and I have both tried this whiskey. And now, it was a while ago, and it was not good. It was young. It was not good at all. And we even, because we want to be fair, we reached out to several people, many in Texas, and we said, hey, has it gotten better? We can't say that we had anybody come back and say that it has. So that's disappointing. But, maybe Dave's going to pump some money in. They'll make some upgrades. They'll do something. We'll wait and see. But I think I'll always remember, Bob, when you and I saw it in the store, right? They were selling it for what, $8.99 a bottle?
Yeah,
with
$9 a bottle, and they couldn't get rid of it. There were cases there.
But it was
while.
it was not just cheap. It had a rebate neck tag on it.
Oh yeah, it was like $7.50 rebate or something like that.
No, it was such that if you bought the bottle and sent it the rebate, you actually made like $1.50.
Was that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
because it was the weirdest thing. I'd never seen anything like it before. But so folks at Devil's River, we're sorry, but let's take advantage of this opportunity and see where this goes. And if somebody thinks we're wrong, I'm more than happy to try a new sample of some of the newer stuff that they've produced. Not anything sourced. I'm not interested in that. If they're making something new with the new facility, I think they were in the stage of trying to build a couple of years ago. Let's try it out, and we'll go for there and we'll revisit. Happy to do it.
I mean, I could tell them how to make decent Texas whiskey. I actually have.
Hey now, that's another episode. That's another episode. Hold that off. Hold that back. We got to save the Texas secrets for later, buddy.
I have it, man.
I know you do.
I know how to do it.
I know you do. It looks like the boys at Justin's House of Bourbon have hit the news again in not such a good way. News broke this past week that apparently Kentucky alcohol regulators are moving to shut down the popular vintage bourbon seller Justin's House of Bourbon. They got raided in January, both their Louisville and Lexington stores and their shipping facility in D.C., and they had some issues there. They ultimately got past that, paid some small fines, and moved forward, and that was positive because, the guys behind the store are nice guys, and they have a great vintage bourbon program. They're one of the companies that was able to capitalize on Kentucky's vintage bourbon rule, which allows stores to buy vintage bourbon from individuals within a certain age, and there's certain definition of what makes a whiskey vintage, and then they have to properly register it and pay taxes on it, and then you put a stamp in the bottle, and everything's cozy. And they had been able to do that and bring that to people. It wasn't cheap, so it's not for the people on a budget, but they were filling a nice kind of niche with that, right? They got beautiful facilities. Well, apparently they're in more trouble. Several undercover officers came in, and there's several allegations. Now, once again, these are nothing more than allegations. We're just reporting it, but failure to report vintage distilled spirits purchased to the state, illegally transported bottles between Kentucky stores. Yeah, Bob.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
illegally transported bottles between two Kentucky stores. So it's illegal if you own two stores to take them from one store to the other?
Depending on the local laws, yes.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely illegal. The one thing that they had also
They're
had
in the
issue
same
was-
state.
Right. They had also told some of these undercover agents that they would drive them to D.C. That's definitely illegal. Failure to place sticker on vintage bottles, unlawfully bought and sold alcohol beverages. So once again, these are the things they're dealing with. We're going to have to wait to see comes out. But I can tell you, they always had a good supply of Weller and Blanton's in their stores, and they're not a big enough store to apparently have the volume necessary to have access to that kind of stuff. So for me, I was always kind of curious what they get, because neither of those bottles fall into the vintage category, but we'll wait and see. Hopefully they can work it out and keep going. But it'll just be a matter of time to see what happens. But the bottom line here is, when you're in a state that creates a law like this vintage state law, they're going to be watching it like a hawk, right? And it's really something that we need everyone in Kentucky to do right, because it'd be nice for other states to do it. If Missouri did it, that'd be fantastic, right? So we'll just wait and see what happens.
I'm just shaking my head. Failure to place a sticker on it. Oh, come on. You forgot the sticker. I don't know.
Well, exactly.
I'm just thinking about all the other things that we could be dealing with in terms of politics and laws and shit, and they're busy worrying about not putting a fucking sticker on the thing. Okay. Anyway. Sorry.
Well, you know what? It'd be great. I'd love to hear people's feedback. Drop a note, podcast@bourbonbanter.com, and let us know. Do you think the government's overplaying their hand here and focusing on something they need to just stop worrying about and focus on more important things? Or do you think this type of diligence and oversight is warranted? Let us know, and we'll share some of the more interesting comments on the next podcast. A while back, after the news of Blue Run being acquired broke, our team member Steve Coombs wrote a great opinion piece called "Who's Next?" Kind of questioning who is going to be the next big acquisition. Well, I don't know if this one is going to be necessarily anywhere near the same scale, but apparently Sagamore Spirits has been acquired by Serrano Holdings, the parent company of Di Serrano Liqueur. I think what we all know is Amaretto, right? So they're going to be acquired by them, and they're going to be moving to the Baltimore Peninsula to a new facility, as well, to continue moving the business forward. So this is kind of, I guess, the first one to break now moving forward, and we're just going to have to see if anybody is going to be acquired in the near future as well.
The Di Serrano finished Sagamore Rye, soon to arrive just in time for the holidays.
You called it. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. That Bob, he's a wizard. Speaking of wizards, let's talk about Barrel Craft Spirits. These geniuses behind so many blends.
I was trying, man. I couldn't think of anything. I just, my brain just went left right there. I was like, okay, I got to think of something clever right here. Nah, fuck it. We're going right into barrel.
So our friends at Barrel Craft Spirits, I visited them about a year and a half ago, and their facility was great, but man, they were super cramped. So it's really exciting to announce that they unveiled the new state-of-the-art blending facility. They now have 8 blending tanks with 64,000 gallons of capacity, allowing them to increase their overall blending capacity by over 500%, and have a new bottling line capable of 1 million case annual throughput on a single shift. So they are poised for great growth and future increases in not only the products, but the quantity of the products that they're putting out. So if you're a fan of what Barrel Craft Spirits are doing, and believe me, they've got something for everyone and all these different price ranges, you should be pretty glad to hear this. And I just want to extend a big congratulations to the whole team there for making it to their 10th anniversary and doing it in style with this new facility. And hopefully we'll get a chance to go check it out in the near future.
I like the fact that they're actually just saying this is a blending facility. It's not a distillery. They're not trying to be, it's a blending facility. That's what they do well. They're embracing that's what they do well, because Pop said a long time ago, what is the future of this? Blending is going to be taking more, mingling spirits and mingling things. And they also picked up an 18,000 barrel rick house just minutes away from the new blending facility. 42 ricks and 5 levels and a multitude of locations throughout to provide unique character to each cask that they're going to have in there. So I don't know, by unique character, that means that they're going to have, like actors sitting there watching the whiskey age. I don't, who knows, but That could be something. Maybe that's another thing. You could have like the Terminator or something. Terminator aged. The guy's just sitting there staring at it with that little eye that shoots, the various different video levels of things. And I'm just pulling all kinds of shit out my ass.
Keep drinking, Bob. Keep drinking. I want to also extend some congratulations to Heather Green. She is the Master Blender of the Year, as awarded by Bourbon Women this year. She was recognized as the Master Blender of the Year at the inaugural WOW Women of Whiskey Awards, presented in collaboration with the Bourbon Women Foundation. This happened just at the end of August, so great news for Heather as she went into Bourbon Heritage Month. And she and everyone else at Milo and Green have been doing a fantastic job blending whiskey and really showing how you can take not only your own spirit, but other products. And they don't necessarily have to be super old products, right? To create something that's got a very interesting character and something worth drinking. So if you haven't checked out their products, I highly recommend that you do. And Heather's been a force in this industry for years. She was the first American woman to serve in the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society tasting panel and the first woman to write a whiskey book shortlisted in the New York Times. So if you haven't checked out what she's got going on, I highly suggest you do that. And congrats once again, Heather, on a job well done. Can't wait to see what's next for you.
Hey there, friends and neighbors. When it comes to craft whiskey, Bourbon and Banter doesn't pull any punches. We call it just like we see it. And when it comes to craft whiskey from Texas, there's only one distillery that has survived the Bourbon and Banter Texas Whiskey Challenge, and that's the folks at Still Austin Whiskey Company. They are a true grain-to-glass operation. Their hands are in every step of the process, from sourcing ingredients to distilling, bottling, and everything in between. Their flagship products include the Musician Straight Bourbon Whiskey, the Naturalist American Gin, the Artist Straight Rye, and the one that won us over, the Musician Cast Strength Bourbon. That stuff is absolutely fantastic. Still Austin Whiskey Company uses 100% Texas-grown corn, rye, and barley sourced from local Texas farmers. To find out more about where you can get their whiskeys, as well as more information about their Austin distillery, visit them online at stillaustin.com/banter. That's stillaustin.com/BANTER. Tell them the Bourbon and Banter crew sent you and find out why they are the only distillery to pass our Texas Whiskey Challenge. Still Austin Whiskey Company.
So that was a lot of whiskey news, Bob. I think I have to take a pause here to just, have a sip of whiskey. And with that, it's time for new releases. You might be surprised, but Buffalo Trace has unveiled a limited edition set of a multi-bottle Prohibition collection.
Holy shit, they've got more rare whiskey?
That's right. In other news, we still don't have enough Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, Elmer T. Lee, or anything else. So talk about magic. I always tell people that distillation is the science and the aging is the art and the magic. Well, Buffalo Trace excels at pulling new releases out of their collective ass. So the official news is it's a 5-bottle collection of whiskeys that honor the spirits legally produced at the distillery during Prohibition. The collection set to launch in October is a recreation of 5 Prohibition-era whiskeys that have, until now, been lost to time. Old Stag, Golden Wedding, 3 Features, Walnut Hill, and George T. Stagg Spiritus Frumenti. Now, in an ironic twist, these whiskeys will be harder to get now than they were during Prohibition. Why? Because that's what's built into Buffalo Trace's business plan. Each bottle in this collection is housed in a 375 milliliter bottle. So don't get excited. They're not even giving you a full bottle, right? So you're going to get 5 half bottles. They're labeled with some really cool retro looking labels, right? So that's kind of cool. And it's going to be housed in a custom wooden case containing all 5 bottles, because they know that no one in their right mind is actually going to open this up and drink this. But I hope someone does, because I have a theory that it's just Fireball in all the bottles. But I could be wrong. This is going to be available at retail for the very very accommodating price of $999. However, there's a twist, Bob. You want to tell them what the requirement is?
I think the twist is that it'll be available to retailers at $1,000 price point for those who have purchased at least $500,000 of Fireball this calendar year. And I think that's the twist.
Right. And if the stores are really unlucky, there'll also be a $500,000 Wheatley vodka requirement as well. Now, I encourage everyone to dive in this a little bit, because if nothing more, it's entertaining, because when you get into these whiskeys, right? Not all of these, they say that they all were around. They're not. Some of the new brands are kind of new. And then the one that really throws me off is this George T. Stagg. I have to talk about this. So it's George T. Stagg Distillery Spiritus Fermenti, which sounds like something out of a Harry Potter movie.
It sounds like a fruitcake to me.
Right. It's 110 proof. So they're calling it the booziest of the collections. And the Latin translation for Spiritus Fermenti is spirit of the grain. And apparently that was the generic name used to label medicinal whiskey during Prohibition. But where I'm throwing is it's a wheated bourbon. George T. Stagg is not a wheated bourbon. Stagg Jr. is not a wheated bourbon. So not only do they make it inaccessible, but they're adding to confusion. So I want to personally thank the brand marketing team for that. But I do want to give them at no charge, because I was in marketing for 25 years. I want to give them an idea. Since this is so exclusive, and clearly, all their whiskeys are on allocation, so they probably had to wring this out of the barrel just to have enough for this. I suggest that they create a faux version of this. So you can come in, buy the box, you've got the bottles in there, it's filled with colored water, whatever, and you sell those cheaper, maybe $400. And that way everybody can buy one and have it in their house. So when they're taking photos for Instagram, in their collections where they've got 10 bottles of Blanton's and 30 bottles of Stagg and whatnot, they can also have at least one or two of those as well on the shelf. I think that would be really good and probably would increase sales quite a bit, or in this case, demand, since no one will actually get their hands on it. So Buffalo Trace, that's a free marketing idea for you. Send me one of those faux sets, because God knows they're never going to send me a real set.
I think that the Spiritus Fermenti, they just went and bought a bunch of 2-stars and just threw it in that bottle. That's probably what they did.
Well, rumor has
it went to the Frankfurt Total Wine and just threw it all in there.
What I want to know is, if I show up at the distillery in the gift shop and with a Harry Potter wand, what do I have to say when I wave it to get a free set? I don't know. Once again, if you go and you do that, film it, send it to us, podcast@bourbonbanter.com. Woodford's back in the game, right? They're releasing a new distillery series, Toasted Oak 4-Grain. It's a new release. It's a blend of Woodford Reserve's bourbon, rye, wheat, and malt whiskeys. The whiskey was first aged in a standard new oak barrel and then finished in heavily toasted new oak barrels. And this is the first Woodford release to have master distiller Elizabeth McCall's name on the label. She took over the role of master distiller from Chris Morris, who now serves as the master distiller emeritus in January of this year. That's more Latin. There's a lot of Harry Potter.
I was going to say, man, that sounds like it should all go together. Master Distillamus, and I can't even fucking say the shit. Spiritus Fermenti.
Yeah.
Dominos and Patro de Marte.
I keep thinking of what is it? Boondock Saints, right? When they always do the sign of the cross in Latin before they shoot people. Speaking of being shot, this is going to be available for only $59, and that sounded like a good deal until I realized it was standard Woodford special release. It's only a 375 ml bottle. So if
and it's bottled at 90 proof.
Right, at 90 proof. So in other words, this is a $120 bottle if my simple math is correct. If you're one to enjoy these limited releases from them, track it down. But I would suggest that if you didn't like any of those other releases, their bourbon, their rye, their wheat, or their malt, adding them together may not be the solution that you're looking for. It's
the Woodford Infinity bottle, ladies and gentlemen.
Quite possibly. But it's only $120, so keep spending. And if that doesn't fit your budget, there is a new release from that old historic brand, Chicken Cock.
The Old Cock.
The Old Cock has released a new Red Stave Kentucky straight bourbon, bottled at a paltry 102.4 proof. The flavor-rich Petite Syrah wine barrels give this red stave a balanced stone fruit taste profile and beautiful red tint. Not my words. I'm just reading the marketing copy since they put the time in to write it. But this is, like I said, 102.4 proof. It is a mash bill of 70% corn, 21% rye, 9% malted barley. And it's packaged in Prohibition-era commemorative tin that makes it perfect for gift giving this holiday season to the people who think they like bourbon but don't really know. And it can be yours for $199.99.
I just want to bang my head into the wall, man. $200 fucking dollars. $200 for a 102.4 proof chicken cock, a cock and a bottle of Petite Sirah finished shit. Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Hey, not here to judge, just here to report.
Yeah. I'll judge all I want. You report. I'm going to fucking judge.
Well, then let me continue my reporting, sir. Ross and Squibb has announced the return of the return of Remus Gatsby Reserve. This first hit the market last year. This year's 2023 edition. Okay. This is going to be released annually now to celebrate F. Scott Fitzgerald's legendary novel, The Great Gatsby. This is being bottled at 98.1 proof and offered in an ultra-limited